What if I told you that skipping just a few hours of sleep could significantly damage your cognitive abilities, lower your performance, change the way your brain functions, and even drastically reduce your lifespan? Well, most people treat sleep as negotiable, something they can sacrifice when life gets busy. But neuroscience tells us a different story, one where sleep isn't just a luxury, but an absolute necessity for mental health and optimal performance. I'm Olaf Furseth, and for over 20 years, I worked in the field of performance psychology, helping individuals, teams, and companies unlock their potential. As a university-level teacher, my vision for this channel is to bridge the gap between scientific research and practical strategies so that you can benefit from the latest insights into the fascinating field of performance psychology. Make sure to subscribe because I have tons of valuable videos coming your way. In today's episode, we're diving into the science of sleep deprivation and how it affects your brain, memory, decision-making, and overall mental resilience. I broke it into 3 easy-to-understand parts, covering why sleep is essential for your brain and what happens when you deprive yourself of sleep, and the long-term consequences of chronic sleep deprivation. And don't skip my final thoughts in the end, where I cover the power of prioritizing sleep and share some actionable tips you can take advantage of. But first, let's have a look at why sleep is essential for your brain in the first place. Because sleep isn't just about rest, it's a biological process critical for brain function, memory consolidation, and mental recovery. In contrast to what most of us think, your brain actually is highly active during sleep, performing key functions necessary for learning, emotional regulation, and problem solving. Here's what happens in your brain when you get quality sleep. First of all, sleep is important for memory consolidation because during deep sleep, particularly in slow wave sleep and REM sleep, the brain strengthens neural connections and consolidates memories. And the hippocampus, a key structure in memory processing, replays information learned throughout the day, transferring it to long-term storage in the neocortex. Studies from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke highlight the role of sleep in synaptic plasticity, the foundation of learning and memory. And the second reason sleep is important is for emotional regulation, because the amygdala, responsible for processing emotions, is highly influenced by sleep. Poor sleep leads to an overactive amygdala, making you more emotionally reactive and reducing your ability to regulate stress. Actually, research from the University of California, Berkeley found that sleep-deprived individuals exhibited a 60% increase in amygdala reactivity, leading to a heightened emotional response. The third reason sleep is important is for neuroplasticity and learning, because sleep is essential for neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. This is crucial for skill acquisition, creativity, and adaptability. A Harvard Medical School study found that participants who had adequate sleep performed significantly better on cognitive tasks than those who were sleep deprived. So the fourth reason I want to highlight is that for sufficient sleep is important for detoxification and brain health. The lymphatic system, which clears toxins and metabolic waste from the brain, is most active during deep sleep. This system helps remove beta-amyloid plaques, which are associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. And researchers at the University of Rochester found that during sleep, the lymphatic system is nearly 10 times more active compared to wakefulness, illustrating the importance of sufficient sleep. So, with some of the benefits highlighted, what happens when you actually deprive yourself of sleep? Well, neuroscientific studies have shown that even moderate sleep deprivation, like cutting sleep short by just a couple of hours, can impair brain function similarly to alcohol intoxication. Let's have a look at the 4 main categories to be aware of when you are being deprived of sleep. The first one is cognitive impairment and decision making. The reason this is important is that lack of sleep directly impacts the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for executive functions like decision making, problem solving, and impulse control. Studies using MRI scans show that sleep deprivation reduces activity in these regions, leading to slower reaction times, poor judgment, and increased risk-taking behavior, impaired problem-solving skills, and creativity. Diminished working memory, as supported by a study published in the journal Nature Neuroscience. The second area to be aware of is memory loss and learning deficits. Because since sleep is crucial for memory consolidation, missing out on it weakens the connections between neurons, making it harder to retain and recall information. Actually, studies have shown that students and professionals who sleep less than 6 hours a night experience a significant decline in short-term memory, information retention, and cognitive flexibility. In fact, a study from the Journal of Neuroscience found that sleep-deprived individuals experience a whopping 40% decrease in their ability to form new memories due to hippocampal dysfunction. The third area to be aware of is emotional instability and stress sensitivity. The amygdala, which processes emotions, becomes overactive when you're sleep deprived. And this leads to heightened emotional reactivity, increased stress levels due to higher cortisol production, and reduced ability to handle frustration and challenges. Additionally, the University of Pennsylvania found that individuals who experience chronic sleep deprivation were at a significantly higher risk of developing anxiety and depression. The fourth area I want to mention is extra important for athletes and for those involved in exercise and physical activity, namely reduced physical performance and recovery. Research clearly shows that lack of sleep affects particularly three important areas. The first one is motor function, where studies show a significant decline in reaction time and accuracy in athletes who get less than 7 hours of sleep. The second is testosterone and growth hormone levels, where we see that sleep deprivation decreases the production of these critical hormones, impairing muscle growth and recovery. And the third is injury risk, where we see that fatigue increases the likelihood of accidents and physical strains. For example, a Stanford University study on basketball players found that increasing sleep duration improved sprint times, shooting accuracy, and overall athletic performance, illustrating how important even minor adjustments to sleep time is. So it's easy to see the short-term and immediate consequences of too little sleep. But what's more alarming is the dramatic long-term consequences of chronic sleep deprivation. Because occasionally pulling an all-nighter is bad enough, but chronic sleep deprivation, getting consistently less than 6 to 7 hours per night, can have severe long-term effects on your brain and body. And yet, so many people treat sleep as a negotiable factor in their lives. They stay up late scrolling, working, or watching just one more episode, not realizing that they are slowly eroding their mental and physical health. Think about this. When you cut your sleep short on a regular basis, your brain doesn't just function at a lower capacity, it actively starts to deteriorate over time. One of the scariest effects of such long-term sleep deprivation is related to the increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. The main reason for this is because sleep is when your brain cleans itself. Your brain produces waste products throughout the day, byproducts of thinking, learning, and processing information. And while you sleep, the glymphatic system, your brain's cleaning crew, kicks into high gear. It flushes out beta-amyloid, a toxic protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. Research published in Science found that just one night of sleep deprivation leads to a noticeable increase in beta-amyloid levels in the brain. Now imagine what happens when this accumulates over several days, weeks, and if not months or years. So if you ever felt mentally foggy or struggled to focus after a bad night's sleep, that's a small preview of what chronic sleep deprivation does to your cognitive function over time. It's not just about feeling feeling tired. It's about the long-term decline of memory, processing speed, and mental clarity. It's not just your brain that suffers. Your entire body's health and metabolism take a hit when you don't get enough sleep. Research from the University of Chicago found that just 4 nights of insufficient sleep caused a 30% drop in insulin sensitivity, putting people at a much higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Your body struggles to regulate blood sugar properly, making it harder to process food efficiently. Sleep deprivation also disrupts 2 critical hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin signals hunger, while leptin tells you when you're full. When you don't sleep enough, ghrelin spikes and leptin drops, which means you're not just craving junk food, you're also eating more than you actually need. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that sleep-deprived individuals consumed an extra 300 calories per day compared to those who were well rested. And then there's your heart. Sleep is essential for cardiovascular health. People who regularly get less than 6 hours of sleep per night are at a 48% higher risk of heart disease, according to Harvard Medical School. Lack of sleep leads to chronic inflammation, increased stress hormones, and higher blood pressure, factors that significantly contribute to heart disease and stroke. Then there's the emotional component. If you're someone who constantly feels stressed, overwhelmed, or emotionally reactive, your sleep habits could in fact be the biggest culprit. When you don't get enough sleep, your brain's amygdala, the emotional control center, goes into overdrive. This means you're more likely to overact to situations, get irritated quickly, and feel emotionally exhausted. And worse yet, your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, gets weaker, making it harder to think logically, manage stress, and regulate emotions. This is why chronic sleep deprivation is directly linked to higher rates of anxiety and depression. In fact, research from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who consistently slept fewer than 5 hours at night were 2.5 times more likely to develop depression over time. Sleep deprivation doesn't just make you feel moody, it makes stress feel unbearable and life's challenges harder to cope with. Perhaps the most alarming consequence of sleep deprivation is its impact on lifespan. A large-scale study published in the journal Sleep found that individuals who regularly sleep fewer than 6 hours per night have a 12% increased risk of premature death compared to those who get a full 7 to 8 hours. Why is this so? Because chronic sleep deprivation leads to a weakened immune system, chronic inflammation, and an increased risk of diseases like diabetes, heart failure, and stroke. Your body is constantly in a state of stress, never fully recovering, and aging at an accelerated rate. I think it's fair to say that sleep is the most underrated performance enhancer. If you want to maximize your productivity, emotional intelligence, and overall well-being, prioritizing sleep is not just a choice, it's a necessity. Research consistently shows that high achievers across industries, from elite athletes to top executives, view sleep as a strategic asset, not a luxury. And studies from institutions like Harvard Medical School and the National Sleep Foundation have demonstrated that individuals who consistently get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep outperform those who don't, both cognitively and physically. So sleep isn't just about preventing fatigue. It actively enhances problem solving, memory retention, emotional stability, and even longevity. It's the foundation that allows your brain to function optimally, helping you think clearer, make better decisions, and sustain peak performance. Think about it. When was the last time you optimized your sleep as intentionally as you optimized your diet or workout routine? Are you setting yourself up for success by creating a consistent sleep schedule, reducing screen time before bed, and ensuring your environment supports deep, uninterrupted rest? And what small changes can you make starting tonight to improve it? Remember, your brain and body don't just passively shut down during sleep, they go through a crucial restoration process that primes you for peak performance. Prioritizing sleep is one of the easiest and most impactful ways to enhance every aspect of your life. So tonight, commit to better sleep and experience the transformation firsthand. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, make sure to subscribe for more science-backed strategies to optimize your mental health and performance.